Kellogg's may want to rethink their marketing efforts after this one. The Express reports that a 51-year-old man from England named Chris Kirk began feeling unwell, and after a 5-year search for answers, a home healthcare company called Medley finally helped with a diagnosis. He figured out he was eating too much breakfast cereal. Chris had liver damage, which he assumed was a result of him being overweight, but the Medley test results showed his weight was not the issue, and so began a process of elimination, undertaking highly targeted checks for specific areas, including the impact of alcohol, problems with his immune system, and the potential for heavy metal poisoning. Each test returned biomarkers in the normal range, except for ferritin, which highlighted higher than average ratings on every check. Ferritin is a protein that stores iron in your cells. A ferritin blood test can tell whether you're getting too much or too little iron. So Chris called his doctor, who told him to remove iron from his diet. There was one constant in Chris's diet, something he'd eat quick on days he couldn't fit in a regular meal. Good old cornflakes. Chris was averaging around 2 bowls a day. He cut out the cornflakes, as well as other iron-rich foods like spinach, and no longer suffers from his uncomfortable symptoms. Plus, his ferritin levels are back within the normal category. Maybe Rice Krispies is the way to go. I'd rather my bowl of cereal go snap, crackle, pop than my liver.
Well, give her points for creativity at least. The Smoking Gun reports that a woman in Ohio admitted to hitting a female acquaintance in the face with a 10-pound log of ground beef during a confrontation in the potato chip aisle of a Walmart in suburban Cleveland. In a deal with prosecutors, 27-year-old Monica Garner pleaded no contest to disorderly conduct in connection with her attack last year on a former neighbor. Garner was originally charged with assault. According to police, Garner was at a Walmart when she encountered the victim, 37-year-old Precious Jackson, who was shopping with her 7-year-old daughter. Garner was accompanied by her 5-year-old son. Jackson, who had lived downstairs from Garner in an area duplex, had previously secured a protection order against her ex-neighbor. Cops say that when Garner confronted Jackson in the potato chip aisle, she threatened to beat up Jackson and her daughter. Garner then allegedly pulled down Jackson's face mask and attempted to spit on her. When the spit missed the target, Garner reached into Jackson's cart and removed the $22 meat log. Cops described the tube of ground beef as a blunt object in an arrest report. Garner allegedly struck Jackson a couple of times in the face with the log of prepackaged ground beef. Garner was arrested at the scene, and a relative subsequently took custody of her son. Garner received a 30-day suspended jail sentence and was placed on probation for a year. She was also ordered to pay $155 in fines and court fees. Look at the bright side. At least Miss Jackson didn't have a hammer in her cart.
If you've got some empty space in a room and you're looking for a piece of artwork or a collectible to fill that space, how about a Tyrannosaurus Rex skull? The Associated Press reports that a T-Rex skull was unearthed in South Dakota and is expected to sell for $15 million or more at auction in New York, according to Sotheby's. The 200-pound skull fossil, nicknamed Maximus, is being sold by an owner who wishes to remain anonymous. It was excavated in 2020 and 2021 in Harding County, South Dakota, where other T-Rex skeletons like Sue and Stan were found, according to Cassandra Haddon, Sotheby's head of science and popular culture. Most of the rest of this T-Rex's remains were destroyed over time by erosion, but Sotheby's experts said this skull was a major find. The 6.5-foot tall fossil is about 76 million years old and still has most of the external skull bones and numerous teeth. Hatton said 2 large puncture holes in the skull are evidence of a big fight, probably with another T-Rex. We don't know that this is what caused the death of this animal, but we can tell that it did have a major battle during its lifetime, she said. I imagine the market for a $15 million T-Rex skull is probably pretty slim, so good news, you got a shot.
I don't even know how to start with a joke for this one. A man with multiple sexually transmitted and communicable diseases is accused of intentionally spreading infection to an office worker by repeatedly urinating in her water bottle, according to court documents. KPRC2 News reports that 50-year-old Lucio Catarino Diaz has been charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Police in Houston, Texas said the disturbing occurrences happened at a doctor's office where the victim was employed for 20 years. According to court documents, there was a 5-gallon water dispenser at the medical practice that was used by staff and others. One day, an employee dispensed water from it and noticed it had a funny taste and smell. The woman said after noticing the water tasted sour, she dumped it out. The next incident occurred about a month later. The same woman had started bringing in her own water bottle, and on this day she left it out on her desk. When she went to drink the water a day or so later, she noticed it had the same type of funky taste and smell she encountered in the shared dispenser. When it happened yet again, she took the water bottle to an on-site physician who ran a lab test on the liquid. Results confirmed it was, indeed, urine, according to court documents. The woman then purchased a small camera and attached it to her computer. Within a short period of time, the motion detector alerted there was movement near the camera. It showed Diaz uncap the water bottle on the woman's desk, unzip his pants, and place his private part inside the bottle. After urinating inside the bottle, he recapped the water bottle and placed it back on the desk. Police were contacted and Diaz confessed, saying he had a sickness. Blood and urine samples were obtained from Diaz, and results indicated he tested positive for 2 sexually transmitted diseases. One of them was incurable, documents state. The victim also had lab work done and learned she had contracted the incurable disease. Diaz was taken into custody and is being held by immigration officials.
Well, at least for the officer, it was the happiest place on earth. Wow News Today reports that a fugitive from New York who had been on the run for almost a year was caught after going on a trip to Walt Disney World, the same day that a federal officer working on his case was also at the park. 31-year-old Quashawn Burton had been accused of stealing at least 4 people's identities and using their personal information to fraudulently take out government loans intended to help struggling businesses survive the height of the pandemic in 2020. In all, he stole about $150,000 in forgivable federal loans. When law enforcement went to arrest Burton back on November 29, 2021 in Brooklyn, New York, Burton was gone, and his mother informed officers that he would not be self-surrendering. So he became a fugitive, using fake identities, including one he used when he went to Disney World. But Burton had a distinct neck tattoo with the letter H written in cursive, and that is how Federal Postal Inspector Jeff Andre recognized him that day at the park. Andre alerted the Orange County Sheriff's Office that a fugitive was inside the park, and about an hour later, he was confronted by deputies while waiting at a bus stop. He resisted arrest and denied he was in fact Quashawn Burton, but he was apprehended and fingerprints proved his true identity. He's now facing a whole bunch of charges. Man, the fugitive and the officer at Disney on the same day? It really is a small world after all.
If you want to see all our videos about real news stories that are funny, stupid, or weird, click the subscribe button below. I mean, hey, my cat's gotta eat.